You're listening to Infinite TBR, the podcast where we try not to buy more books. I'm Smack.
And I'm Gabi. Spoiler alert! We're going to avoid major spoilers, and when we can, warn when we're going to discuss a particular book in detail so you can avoid that part of the episode. You can also check the show notes for time-stamped flags identifying potential spoilers.
Welcome back!
Hello! It's been a while.
It has.
We've been busy.
We've had a long couple of months.
We had a whole plan to get together up in Oregon where Smack was.
I know, I spent 3 weeks in Salem dog sitting for an old family friend. And then Gabi got COVID.
Yep.
Had to stay home.
Yep. Don't eat out. Ever. If you look up a restaurant and they say they have outdoor seating and then it turns out they don't have outdoor seating, walk away.
Also, fun fact, you have to have a certain amount of time between one Paxlovid prescription and another.
PSA, our next public health announcement for our listeners.
We're so helpful.
You can get COVID again within 3 months, apparently very easily because it's mutating so quickly, but they will not prescribe Paxlovid again unless it's been 3 months since you took it the first time.
That sucks so much.
So, things I learned the hard way.
I had an interesting trip, and Gabi had a really sucky couple of weeks.
And now we're back together again. Yay.
I brought a bunch of books home. I went to Powell's because I had to go to the Portland airport a couple of times.
Well, that's what Oregon is for, I think, is going to Powell.
The whole thing?
Yes,
the whole
that's what
thing
the whole state is for.
Was to be there. I have only ever spent like a long weekend in Portland. I am not familiar with the Pacific Northwest, but I have always known I would love it. It's gloomy and full of trees. Like, obviously I would love it.
I've never been north of the Redwood Forest.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
And on the Pacific side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to South Dakota.
I have not been to South Dakota.
It's been a very long time since I was in South Dakota.
What's in South Dakota?
Whatever Mount Rushmore is called now that it's not. Should be Mount Rushmore.
The 6 grandfathers?
Is that what it is?
I mean, I think that's the indigenous name for it. But I'm pretty sure it's still, like, commonly called Mount Rushmore.
Yes. I just feel gross about calling it
I know. Rushmore. Especially after you see those photos, like the drone photos of the whole thing, where, like, the faces are this tiny percentage of it. It's a massive bunch of rocks, and they were
6 grandfathers. Well done.
Thank you. I try. Anyway,
that's what's in South Dakota. And I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yep.
I think it's beautiful. I think it has very few people.
That is very true. Anyway, Pacific Northwest was gorgeous.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
It snowed. I drove in snow for the first time. That was exciting.
That was your first time?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It wasn't that bad. There were like 3 inches, and it didn't really stick, and it was definitely gone by the time we got to the highway. But this was the first trip to the Portland airport. It had snowed in the night, and I had to like scrape the windows with this. Yep. The front and back windshields with like this modified water thing. I made it work, and I scraped it off, and it was great, and you could see everything, and I cleaned the, like, outside mirrors, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And then we got on the freeway, and we're driving, and the 3 inches of snow that was on the ceiling, on the roof, slid backwards, all in one giant pile, slid backwards, completely covered the rear windshield, couldn't see a thing for miles. It was fine. But, like, I watched it fall down in the rear view, and I was like,
oh no.
I did not foresee this part. I tried. Did not foresee this part.
Learning experience?
Yeah. Want to give a shout out to David, who I went to my MFA with, who lives in Maine, and fully knows how to drive in the snow.
What were his hot tips?
I didn't ask him about that, but he listens to the podcast. While he goes walking.
Okay.
It's like hanging out with us.
Yay.
Hello! It basically is hanging out with us. I forgot where. Yeah, Powell's.
Powell's
was completely overwhelming completely overwhelming. It was so big that they have maps. And they've divided the store into, like, color-coded sections. I think I still have mine around here somewhere. I will show it to you after we record.
Okay.
But it's like a proper, like, when you go to a theme park and they open up, like,
I want to go so
with multi-levels, and
I want to roll around in it.
it was...
I want to hide and not come out.
It was overwhelming. But I did find
bet,
the science fiction and fantasy section, and I picked a couple of things that had been on my list.
What'd you get?
I got... Oh, boy. So I didn't go too crazy, because I haven't had a paycheck in a while. And I know you own this first one. I got Beasts of Prey by Ayanna Gray, because it was $7, and in very good condition.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, this is mine. And then...
What's wrong with it?
Nothing. It was just
pre-owned?
Yeah, pre-owned.
Oh, okay.
I think there was a small, like, stuff that only I would notice.
Things that I've definitely paid full price for.
I'm sure I have paid full price for little wrinkles in the pages before, but only if there was no other option. So then I also got The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson, which is like cult witches breaking out from the secret village into the haunted forest type stuff. Yeah.
Good for them.
I know. That one's been on my list for a while. I was very excited.
Yeah, I've heard.
They had a bunch of different copies, and some of them were brand new and $17, and this one was $10.
Woo!
And also in very good condition.
Very good condition.
Until I checked out, and the guy put this one on the bottom, and the cover bent back, and then it sat like that the whole drive home.
Oh, buddy.
But you can barely tell anymore.
What are you doing?
I know.
Book crime.
Works at Powell's. He was rushed. It was okay.
Book crime.
And it's fine. You can barely tell anymore. And then Threadneedle by Carrie Thomas.
That one's been on my TBR for a long time.
And this one, it gets really high ratings. I was telling Gabi it's not something I usually would gravitate to, because it's about this girl who's been taught that magic is terrible, it's bad, it's unnatural. She's about to, like, take vows to have her magic bound, I guess. And is suddenly like, wait a minute, what if it's not bad?
And there's a secret library where the librarian feeds off words.
Well,
that's enough
same,
for me.
So.
Num, num, num,
Yeah.
num.
But it has really good ratings online, so I picked that up. And then those were the 3 speculative ones I got. And then I also got White Fragility.
Why do you always end with these?
I get depressing books. They make me feel better about the world when I understand the depressing bits.
So when you're listing them, you should start with...
So I should start with the... Well, yeah, I should.
And then end with the happy one.
Yeah, okay, so the less happy ones, White Fragility, Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism, by Robin DiAngelo. Anyway, it's a tiny little paperback, but I did get back to the place I was staying in Salem, and they already owned it, so I didn't actually,
Were you gonna leave it?
No. But, like, I could have just read it while I was there.
Right.
And instead, it has sat on my desk for a
And you
month.
read fun stuff instead.
That's true. I have been reading fun stuff.
Yay.
The other one that is really not fun, but I'm actually really looking forward to, is called The Great Influenza. The story of the deadliest pandemic in history. But I don't think that's true anymore.
That was probably still...
Oh, really?
I think in terms of...
Of, like, worldwide deaths.
So that's the question is, I don't know if there's a difference between, like, which pandemic wins in terms of absolute numbers of deaths versus proportion of the population.
Oh.
And I know I'm almost positive in terms of proportion of the population.
Yes.
The flu was much worse.
Yeah.
I don't know how they fall out in terms of
like
absolute
overall numbers.
But I do think like the vaccines made a huge difference
with
COVID.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that one's by J.M. Barrie. It's a fatty paperback. And this one,
It looks like a fun one to hold, but
it's
also
like
just
really
too soon.
it's like a really great weight for a paperback. Nice and chunky.
Yeah.
And this one I did get lost looking for because I couldn't tell if it would be in, like, the political
Oh, you went
history.
looking for it.
Yes, I went looking. I had a list of books that have been up, like...
Wow.
Like,
you
and
have targets.
Yes, I did. So I got lost in Powell's and you can't really tell who works there and who doesn't. Because all book people look sort of the same. So I did finally find a guy, and I was like, will you please help me find this? And then he took me to the opposite end of the store.
Of course.
Where I was like, I couldn't have even found if I'd thought to look there.
So what section did it end up in?
Honestly, I don't remember. I was just so relieved to find it. And then I was like, oh my god, there are multiple copies. I can get the prettiest one for the cheapest money. And I stood on a step stool to go through them for a bit. And this other woman walked up and she was like, do you work here? I was like, no, I just have no shame when it comes to step stools and books. Sorry.
Amazing.
But that guy over there who's running away, he
Go
works
get
here.
him! Tackle! If I owned an independent bookstore over the last few years, I would have made a section that's just titled Too Soon, and that's where I would have put all of my plague books.
Yes.
Everything about the flu, any like
AIDS,
Station 11.
Station 11.
By Emily St. John Mandel.
Blackfish City by
Blackfish
Sam Miller.
City.
Yep. All of the books where you read and you're like, wow.
I wasn't ready for this.
Yes. I wouldn't even know what else. I remember A Dowry of Blood mentioned a pandemic.
Yep.
But it wasn't our pandemic.
No.
She was a vampire. So it was like
Viennese.
yeah. Like
some sort of plague.
1700s something. Never really clear, and I never went back to like try to map it out. But there was definitely an entry in the Dowry of Blood diary where she was like, this is what it's like to hide out during a pandemic. And I was like, wow.
She wrote this after.
Someone was feeling poetic about lockdown.
Did we say who that's?
That one is by S.T. Gibson.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Because she goes by St. Gibson.
Right.
Which I always thought was an interesting way to...
And they did re-release the Dowry.
They did re-release A Dowry of Blood, and it has a gorgeous new cover. Like, the old
I like
cover
the
was
old
interesting.
cover.
I really love the new cover. It's, like, so stark and exciting. I don't know. It's just black and red, and your eyes are crossed out and with red.
Did you end up getting the new...
I did not. I resisted. Because it's
Not-
in hardback.
Not A Dowry of Blood.
Oh.
The other cover. The bad cover.
I did not. Which one was that? That was by Tessa Grattan.
Night Shine.
Night Shine. That was a good book.
Good book.
Very good book.
Did I give that back to you, or did I keep it on the theory you were going to get the new one?
No, I gave you my hardcover
Right.
copy
Okay.
because the cover was so bad. And
Yeah.
then they came out with this gorgeous paperback
Yes.
one. And I was like, well, when I reread it,
Then
I'll just
you
get a
will.
paperback.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Gotcha.
The piles have been multiplying since I got home.
They're also being whittled down. I feel like every time I come in here, there are fewer piles.
Because they end up on the floor.
That's not fair. I just brought that pile back.
But like all those library books, those were here.
Right.
Right.
But those are
And
library
this
books.
giant bag of books.
Oh yeah, so what are the other books?
Oh
in the
yeah,
back?
so the non-Powell's paperbacks,
Where'd they come from?
they're not just paperbacks, books. I've had a couple of pre-orders come in.
Oh yeah, we have pre-order o'clock.
We're having a lot. He's like...
I know. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but Loki is snoring very loudly.
He's not, like, this is not snoring for him. He's just breathing deeply, and it's noisy. When he snores, you will know it. So I went to Mysterious Galaxy, our favorite local indie.
We love you.
And I don't know, I was feeling like really weird and unsettled, and so I just kept going through the register with like another book, and every time you buy it, you went through the register, you got to pick a new free book. They have a book of advanced reader
They
copies.
let you go through the register more than once to get.
I went through 3 times, and it wasn't like really on purpose, but by the third one I was like, yes, I just need just one more book. I just need one more book. And, like, a lot of times they're, like, cart full of free books and advanced reader copies. It's not just advanced reader copies. They're also called ARCs. But it's also, like, copies of books that they would have sold that are, like, too trash to actually, like, to make people buy. So it was a good selection. I got 2 Holly Black books, Queen of Nothing, and something about the heir inheritance The Stolen Heir.
Oh.
Which is...
Same series.
I think it's actually technically a different series. It's the same world. But The Queen of Nothing is the second book in a trilogy. And then I think she picked new characters for The Stolen Heir.
Oh.
And it's like a new series where The Stolen Heir is the only one out. But I got the hardcover of that. I still don't own the third of the Queen of Air books, but I already own the first one. And then I also got Winterwood, my other freebie, Winterwood by xianxia-inspired. And it's like, be careful of the dark, dark wood, and there are kids who go missing, and
spooky wood,
witchy women, and yeah.
Spooky wood and witchy women?
I know! Yeah. Very excited. So that's definitely up on my list. And then, what else did I actually pay for on that trip?
What did you pay?
Oh, that was the day my cousin and her whole family came to visit. She has these two adorable young girls.
Oh.
And so...
Did you get them still?
I did. I got them a little cardboard book with a dragon puppet built into it. I can't remember what it's called.
I have that for me.
For you? Yes! Not your nieces?
No!
Oh.
They got other stuff.
That
one was for me.
That one's called Baby Dragon, and it's illustrated by Victoria Ying. It's adorable if you have little nibblings. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Or if you just want a dragon puppet. It's like a finger puppet. It's adorable.
Yeah, they actually make a whole bunch of them. So they have like baby T-Rex and baby narwhal and baby shark.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Baby shark. Well, Mysterious Galaxy only had Baby Dragon. So I got that, and I got Not Quite Narwhal and Perfectly Pegasus by Jessie Sima, I believe. They're picture books, but they're also like really just genuinely wholesome and fun to read as an adult.
They're so delightful.
They're just really nice. So I got those two. And then later on I went to Barnes & Noble, and because like you can't get two little girls 3 things, right? Like you have to get 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So I went back to Barnes & Noble.
One is to share.
I don't think they're big sharers.
Well, they have to learn somehow.
Anyway, so I went to Barnes & Noble and I picked up a book about monsters, and they all have various tactile things.
Oh.
So you touch all the monsters. So we have...
Does it make noises?
No, it does not make noises.
I got one for College Laura's.
Mm-hmm.
One of her sons, it has like a similar tactile thing, but if you pet, and I think it's dinosaurs, if you pet it, it'll like roar.
Yes!
And they love it so much. Big hit.
That sounds so funny. So, but like we ran out of wrapping paper.
Oh no.
So like, they were like, it was like Frankenstein together with all these various patterns and stuff, and it just barely managed it.
Good job.
Right? They opened it up. My mother leans over to my cousin and she's like, a dragon, narwhal, pegasus, and monsters. Are you sensing a theme? Have we made ourselves clear of who we are as people?
Sure, call us out, I guess.
And by the time I got the monster book, I was fully like, I was in on that. That was deliberate. So what I got myself at Mysterious Galaxy, the one book I actually bought myself was The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones.
And you got a hardcover.
I did get a hardcover.
And you don't have a hardcover of the first one.
I know. I have an ebook of the first one. But like...
No, you wouldn't. Okay.
No, I am not going to buy another one. You may.
I know.
Because you'll want to read it at some point. Anyway, I've read her book, The Bone Houses, with like zombies, but like weird zombies, and this like...
Did you read it this year?
No, I think I read it back in 2019.
I haven't looked at our Mysterious Galaxy 30th anniversary spreadsheet in a while, but now every time I like hear about a book with zombies, I'm like, zombie book!
Yes, me too. But it was on the Sirens reading list pre-pandemic.
Oh.
But I think it was the first year... When was the first year you went to Sirens?
The year before the pandemic.
Okay, so yeah, it was 2019. Because like, we were doing the same reading list together. And it was on there. Anyway, it was really good. And it was not what I had been expecting.
Huh. What were you...
Which is always nice.
What were you expecting?
Well, I mean, like, I knew it was a zombie book, so I was braced for, like...
a zombie.
And it's not like an initial, like, oh no, there are 2 zombies. It's like a world with zombies that you have to deal with. But it's a secondary world. And I don't remember the details, but like the main character lives in this sort of rural village and then ends up going on this quest with a guy who's a cartographer, which is always interesting in secondary fantasy worlds to have a cartographer around.
How convenient.
And then they found this like castle where the initial outbreak had happened, but they're not like virus zombies, they're magic zombies.
Science zombies.
Yeah. Magic zombies.
We have an ongoing joke about, actually probably on this podcast,
yes,
about
absolutely
science
on this
werewolves
podcast.
Versus
magic werewolves.
werewolves.
Yeah. So the same applies to zombies.
Yeah.
I would argue that
Vampires.
the undertaking of Heart and Mercy is also magic zombies. Is it? I didn't actually
Yeah,
finish
because that's
it.
like a...
Who's that one by?
Megan Bannon,
Oh, you're right. Wow, you're good. Megan Bannon.
I think.
I'll check.
We did this last time, too.
Yes, we did. Yep, Megan Bannon.
Yay, I win.
My phone, if you type in the next word it prompts is undertaking. So, although I have not finished that book, I sure talk about it.
You still haven't finished?
I told you I was going to start over, and then I asked you, like,
Oh,
there's
that's
this
right.
whole big misunderstanding towards the end of, like, the relationship crisis was this big misunderstanding where, like, one of them didn't tell the other one something. And I asked you, is it a big deal or are they mature about it? And it was a big deal. And I thought, I can't deal with this right now.
It's both, like, their reactions are very reasonable.
Right.
But it is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll get to it at some point.
But yes, I think the zombies are magic zombies, and it has something to do with the souls, because the souls are floating around the island where he goes to do his marshalling. And if the souls occupy a corpse, then the zombie wakes up, and then they have to deal with it. Something like that. It's been a while.
Since mid-December.
It hasn't even actually been that long.
Been a very busy couple of months.
Yes, it has.
Handful of months, almost. Anyway, so The Drowned Woods,
right,
by Emily Lloyd Jones. I'm really looking forward. It's not a
Is it a direct sequel?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think it's the same world. It takes place in Wales.
Just definitely the same artist who did the cover.
Probably.
100%.
Gorgeous covers. And then the main character is a water diviner.
Ooh.
And then there's like a poisoned well, and she finds out she's been used by the evil prince, and then she like...
What a son of a bitch. Get him!
Yeah, basically. Basically, that's what happens.
Let's go!
So yes, I'm looking forward to that one.
Cool. Okay.
And then...
What did you talk about?
I got a couple of pre-orders that came in. Barnes & Noble does, so far, 2 years in a row.
It's a
Barnes &
problem.
Noble, it's an amazing problem.
They don't even do it like every year. It's like every few months. They're like...
That's true. Like every
feeling
6
like
months.
getting some
So Barnes
pre-orders.
& Noble does this thing where if you pre-order a book that isn't released yet, you get 25% off, which is just like more than I can resist.
Yep.
Like by far.
But I have regretted it a few times because often the books I'm most tempted to pre-order are ones that Mysterious Galaxy then comes out and they're like, if you pre-order with us, you get like an enamel pin or this other pre-order swag, and I'm like, dang it!
So, you pay in other ways. Anyway, it is really nice to pre-order like, I don't know, 10 books or whatever, and then get like gifts from yourself throughout the year.
It's so fun for them to just show up. And you're like, ooh, what did I get myself?
Book mail! So, I got a couple of those recently. Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood is like a magic Jane Eyre.
Oh.
With like a BIPOC main character, I believe. And that was like the first pre-order sale Barnes & Noble did. So I've been waiting for this book for almost a year. Very impatiently. Because I had pre-ordered the paperback version.
I wonder if he has a wife in the attic. Sorry, spoilers for Jane Eyre by Charlotte.
Is
Charlotte, right?
I don't know. One of the Bronte sisters.
Yeah. I'll double check.
Okay. Anyway, we'll find out if there's a wife in the attic. I sure hope there isn't.
It was Charlotte Bronte. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is
yeah.
fix
I know.
the one
yes,
thing
to
about
fix
Shane.
that. Yeah, that's why there are rewrites. Retellings. So I got that one. I got the London Seance Society by Sarah Penner.
Yay.
I got the pretty, like, Barnes & Noble edition, where it's, like, gold and foil and
So
sparkly.
And a sticker you can remove. Ooh.
Oh, I didn't even see that. The interior of the hardcover is just as pretty. Are you smelling my book?
Yeah. It's an important part of the experience. Truth and Justice and the Perilous Art of Conjuring the Dead. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of like except not at all. Like, what's that TV show, iZombie?
Oh.
Where she eats the brains of the murder victims to try and find out who murdered them.
Is that what this is?
It says they're, like, conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identities of the people who killed them.
Oh, that's cool.
So
it's been so long since I actually looked at the inside
zombie.
flap. It's the same idea. So exactly like iZombie, except not at all. In the ways that matter.
In the ways that matter.
God, that's a pretty inside.
It is so pretty.
So shiny. And then what was the other one? She is a Haunting.
Oh, yeah.
By Trang Tan Tran. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. It's a YA, like, Barnes & Noble book club type selection.
It's shiny.
I know, it's gorgeous. And it says Asian woman's face on the cover, and her mouth is full of flowers. And, like, the whole thing is very matte, except for the flowers and this one tear running down her cheek. It's shiny. It's very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then the inside of that hardcover is also really beautiful. It's got, like, a
chateau.
Very clearly haunted
colonial
house.
A French colonial house that is haunted and has, like, ivy running up it. Like, A+ interior artists
I know.
going on right now.
And that one has gotten really good reviews as well.
It has, like, Blackwater Sister vibes.
I was going to say it has Mexican Gothic vibes.
Except Vietnamese and haunted house instead of one particular ghost.
Okay. So more Mexican Gothic than Blackwater Sister.
I mean, you would know.
I would know.
That's
Mexican
Sylvia
Gothic,
Moreno Garcia.
Yes. Still haunts my dreams. I like horror. And I like body horror even, but, like, that one was more than I could handle.
Aww.
It was so good, though. It was so good.
The end of this says, a home, after all, is only as powerful as those who breathe new life into its bones, and this one is determined never to be abandoned again. And I think it was supposed to sound ominous, but I read it and I was like, oh, poor house.
I got the ominous bit, but I got chills when you said that, actually. Yeah, like, terrifying house. Oh, and Blackwater Sister is by Zencho. Ooh! There's an exclusive extra chapter.
At the end from the ghost's perspective.
Ooh.
It also reminds me of Ghost Bride.
I have no idea who that one's by.
Nope, that's not the title.
Oh.
The one we read for Halloween.
The one we read for Halloween. The Ghost Bride?
Where there isn't a ghost bride, but the house is haunted and...
It's by Cassandra Cobb.
Yes!
It is called
Nothing but Blackened Teeth. Anyway.
We got there.
Good vibes all around.
Yeah. It took me a while to go back to October. Good lord.
So, those are all the pre-orders that have come in.
That I haven't actually read yet, but I'm very excited about.
Do you want to talk about the ones that you've pre-ordered that haven't come in yet?
I figured I'd wait till they come out.
Okay.
Unless you want to talk about yours.
No, that's okay, but I am going to mention the ones that I have gotten in the last couple months too, because especially this month, there were a lot this month.
Were there?
This month was... Oh, I haven't gotten that one yet. I wonder if that's going to come this week. Anyway, spoilers for me, I guess. Bitter Medicine by Mia Tsai came in.
That's the one with the blue cover, right?
Yes.
That's like...
And it's like xianxia,
which is...
modern.
For our listeners.
Xianxia is... directly translates to immortal heroes or saint heroes, which is a genre of Chinese fantasy stories that are
They have certain tropes and constructions.
So it's a subgenre.
Yeah, this says, Xianxia draws upon Buddhism, Taoism, and traditional Chinese medicine to fuel its world building.
Okay. But the blue one, what's it called? I can't remember the title.
Bitter Medicine.
Bitter Medicine is supposedly like urban fantasy, but also genre.
Yes.
Which
that was my impression.
Makes it sound very interesting.
I know, I'm really interested to see... Yeah, this
and it has
xianxia-inspired
so many
contemporary
things
fantasy.
that you love anyway.
I know. I'm a simple child. And I know what I like. And this one, so it's a Chinese immortal and a French elf. Navigating romance, family, loyalty, and workplace demands.
I was not expecting French elf, I will say that.
So there's someone who's a descendant of the Chinese god of medicine who's destined to be a doctor and is instead like underemployed at a fairy temp agency, worried that her murderous younger brother is gonna find her and her other brother. And she has powers.
Of course she does.
But she has this client who's also her crush, who's the half-elf, who has his own secrets. He's like responsible.
Obviously, he's got his own secrets.
He's responsible for some curse that he laid on 2 children.
What?
And he needs to find out how to heal them. There's like a lot going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And it just seems delightful.
It does really seem like your cup of tea.
And apparently Hotel of Secrets by Diana Biller's supposed to come in.
Oh, that's exciting.
I know. That's the same author who wrote The Widow of Rose House that I
Which
loved
was adorable.
so much.
And only like lightly speculative. Mostly it was just a historical romance with a couple of ghosts.
And I think Hotel is...
Completely harmless ghosts, right?
Not harmless in the end, but like...
Not malignant.
Maybe? Not malignant.
It's been a long time since I've read it.
Like... understandable malignancy, if that makes sense.
Okay, you know, it really does. Understandable malignancy. I can get behind that.
And then Hotel of Secrets, I think, is not related to it.
No, it's a completely different world.
It's a whole different...
I don't remember what it's about.
I don't know. She's restoring her family's hotel. They're assassins. And an American... a broad-shouldered American foreign agent.
What year is this supposed to be?
That's a great question. It's in Vienna.
Vienna's been around a while.
That doesn't narrow it down. Washington, D.C., which narrows it down more than Vienna.
It's gotta be like...
It doesn't say. 1800s.
Yeah. That's when her last book was.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other one that came in this month that I'm super excited about is The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi
Oh.
by S.A. Chakraborty.
I think she goes by Shannon Chakraborty now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was this whole... I mean, like, I missed all of this while it was happening, but I read a thing that said... Not a thing that said... She wrote a thing that was like, there was this big dust up where people thought I was trying to, like, hide the fact that I'm white behind the surname I took from the guy I married.
Oh.
And I just want my readers to be clear on that. Like, A, yes, I am white, but B, this is my XYZ credentials, and I know what I'm talking about, and I do my research. And
I hadn't heard about any of that.
I hadn't either until I read her thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi is about a retired pirate who goes back to not being so retired.
That's like my favorite kind of story
I
right
know,
now.
me too.
Like, there just aren't enough retirees unretiring themselves.
Reluctant unretired.
Do you know who else was like that? I mean, she wasn't really a retiree, but Paladin of Souls by Lois McMaster Bujold. The main character is this 40-year-old widow who has spent most of her adult life either thinking she was insane or everyone else thinking she was insane. And so she's had like this really rough go of it, and it's technically the second book in the series that Lois McMaster Bujold wrote, and there are some spoilers for the first book, but they largely...
Did you read the first book?
No, I read the second one. Because my friend said...
You're a true...
No! I was going on trust. My friend Dan said, read this one. You don't actually need to read the first one.
People tell me that all the time, and
And
I ignore that.
I always get very nervous when people tell me that, but I was like, you know what? Like, I read it because it was at that Salem house, and I was like, I only have so many days. I better just read it. So I did, and it was hard to get into the world a little bit, but I think that was because I'm not super well versed in epic fantasy.
That could also
Like
be
the
because
naming
it's the second.
conventions. I mean, I'm now reading the first one, and I'm having the same trouble.
Gotcha.
So, like, I think it's me.
Yeah.
But, like, the Paladin of Souls is this super bitter, jaded, just very dissatisfied with her lot in life, and just feeling absolutely trapped. This woman whose kids have gone off to, like, become queen of the world or whatever, and she is trapped into this, like, very confined life of what a widowed ex-queen is allowed to be or do. So at the beginning, she's like, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I'm going on a pilgrimage.
Yay!
Because that's an acceptable thing for ex-queens to do.
So is she going on a pilgrimage, or is she going on a pilgrimage?
It was, there were air
With
quotes
air
on the
quotes.
second one. Yes, it's very much a quote-unquote pilgrimage.
Okay.
And she announces this sort of
Very
spur of the
loudly
moment. Yes.
announcing.
And is immediately, like, everyone around her is like, okay, so you need 14 maids, and they need maids, and then you need donkeys, and footmen, and buckets of clothes, and, like, this whole procession. And she's like, no, I just want to get the shit out of here. And through a small series of opportunities taken, she ends up with, like, I don't know, there are like 10 people who go with her, and there are no maids, and there's no extra donkeys or whatever.
So sweet.
I know. And so they start to go on these little teeny tiny little shrines that no one else has ever heard of, because she's like, we're going to hit every single one. I'm not going home until I absolutely have to. Which
Amazing.
fully respect. And then within like the first 40 pages, the little, I guess he's like a friar who comes with, finds out that she wasn't actually insane when everyone thought she was. She was God-touched. And, like, you know, they talk to these pilgrims who are like, yes, I have sensed the such and such God in my presence. I'm totally, like, I am her devotee or whatever, and she sees me. And this ex-queen is like, fuck you, man. You have no idea what it's like. It sucks ass. You'd be down on your face and praying to die.
Aww.
Which is apparently what she went through.
Oh no.
So, like, she has this, I mean, like, I fully am behind her bitterness and, like, just the impatience with foolishness. But, like, as the story goes, you realize it's not just, like, she's a mature adult and is just sort of, like, the rest of the world needs to get their shit together. It's that she's been, like, very deeply emotionally and mentally wounded by these events that happened in her earlier adulthood. And it's all, like, this great adventure and, you know, like, brigands and, like, the threat of war and a siege on a fortress and all this stuff, but it's also, like, her coming to terms with having been ridden so hard by a god and then rediscovering her patience with all of the gods and her respect for them and their respect for her, frankly. And so, like, in this emotional healing, she can suddenly do all this magic at the very end. It's great.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler.
Alert.
It's not that big of a spoiler. She does magic through the whole thing.
Okay.
But, like, I just loved this book so much. And, like, I think part of it was I just got to sit in this great chair with this great reading light, you know, with the rain and the snow outside and the dogs hanging out inside. And it was this beautiful hardcover, and I just got to sit and read for 4 days. It was excellent. So I am going to reread it. I've checked out the library book already.
You did?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's in that pile far over there. Behind the pile of books you
Oh, the hardback?
Not that one. It's this one.
Oh,
There's another hardback.
Oh, I see.
It's very good. I think it won a Nebula and a Hugo the year it came out. So it's 2003, so it's a little older.
Good for her.
And I will vouch for, the fact that this can be a standalone. You don't have to read the first one. I am now reading the first one, though, and it's good, but I really, this woman speaks to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy
I enjoyed it enough that, if the library due date comes up and I have to return it, I'm just going to go and buy my own copy. Yeah. Because it's in mass market paperback now. It's like $8.
Yeah, I'm sure it's...
Yeah. You have to buy the hardcover secondhand to get one now.
Right.
The library has one. My friend had one.
So would you go looking for the hardcover?
No, you can just... No.
Because
the paperback is like $8. If you care. Maybe. I don't think I care enough.
Okay.
I want it to be compact. Because I have already read it.
Right.
It's not like I am hurting for space a bit.
You haven't read the first one yet.
I'm 100 pages into the first one.
Oh, okay.
It's in my bedroom.
Okay.
So that one is a library book also.
Wait, so is this the first one or the second one?
It's technically the second one.
Oh, okay.
But frankly, I'm glad I read that one first.
But you're going to reread it after the first. Okay. I get it. What's the first one?
First one is called The Curse of Chalion.
Right. Yeah.
Which sort of plays into what happens in the second one, in that the curse was broken in the first one, and it has unforeseen...
Spoilers.
I know. Who could have foreseen that a book named after a curse would have the curse broken by the end? Anyway. So,
Stop spoiling
I
it.
know. So when the curse is broken, there are these unforeseen circumstances a long way outside of the country that, make their way back into the country during the second one.
Okay.
So it's all dealing with that. Yeah. Highly recommend.
Okay.
I forgot where we started before that.
Oh, I'm just muttering about pre-orders.
Oh, right. So continue.
So the next one that came in that I was excited about because it's described as perfect for fans of Margaret Rogerson, who wrote Sorcery of Thorns, and Tamora Pierce, who wrote, everything, is Flower Heart by Catherine Bakewell, which I guess is a cottagecore fantasy romance about a girl with powerful and violent magic that she has to learn to control or lose everything she loves.
Poison and flower magic.
Yeah,
right?
she has flower magic, but yeah, and then she touches someone and poison happens and they die.
Yes!
Or they may die and she has to go figure out how to heal them. But it's this is her best, she has to go get her best friend on board, her ex-best friend. So it's ex-friends to lovers thing.
Okay.
And he's not the same as...
Oh, right, as when they were growing up or whatever. I remember reading that. That was silly but appealing.
Silly cute dummies. Calling that one.
That is also very much up your alley.
Yep.
Good choices on pre-orders.
And so those are the ones that the March ones.
Your March pre-orders?
Those are my March pre-orders. In February, A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon came in, which is the prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree.
Oh, wow.
And it's just as chunky, and the cover is just as beautiful.
Oh my god.
I'm obsessed with the two of them right next to each other.
I bet.
And I didn't I had super high expectations for Priory of the Orange Tree that simply were not met.
You did have
I had extremely high expectations.
Unrealistically high, I would say.
I was like, this will be the most perfect book in the whole world. And it wasn't.
It's good though, right?
Probably. That's the problem, is it was so skewed that I don't know now if
Oh, I'll have to read it.
If it was lukewarm or if it just wasn't perfect. And so I'm like, nah. But I'm hoping since I've had those expectations checked that I will enjoy a reread and B, the prequel more. And there's also, even if the first one is still, there's a chance that she's gotten better too, and then the first one is, or the prequel is good. And then The Wicked Bargain by Gabe Cole Novoa also came in.
Is that the one with
February.
the non-binary pirate wizard?
Yep.
That. I'm really glad you pre-ordered that one, so I didn't have to.
More Gabi boxes being checked.
Yep.
Yeah, Latinx pirate fantasy. with a transmasculine, non-binary teen with a mission of revenge, redemption, and revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it.
Also, it had a gorgeous cover.
And it looks so
with like this
pretty.
like play of blue of the water and red of the magic and stuff. I know. Gorgeous. So that one already came in, right?
That one? Yes, that one came in.
Sweet.
That was a February one. The Keeper 6 by Kate Elliott came in.
Keeper 6. Oh yeah, another...
A novella.
I remember the summary. It's the main character's son is kidnapped, and so she has to like round up her group of scoundrels that she used to work with who all now hate her.
Yay!
Which is reminiscent of The Maleficent 7 by Cameron Johnston, I believe.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that one too. And it's a novella. I'm so into novellas right now.
Oh, well then
I know. Not that I'm not reading regular length books, but like there's just something so satisfying about sitting down and reading this little perfect gem of a story that's not a short story. Because I get really into those and then they end. And then I have to spend like a day processing. It takes me forever to read short stories. But a novella is like the length of a movie. A Marvel movie. Like a long movie. Not like one of those 90-minute things.
So, I also... Oh, they did push it. Goodreads needs to catch up. I was confused because in my beautiful spreadsheet, I also have Furious Heaven by Kate Elliott.
Which is the sequel to Unconquerable Sun, right?
Right. And that
Which is gender-bent Alexander the Great in space.
It was so good! It actually didn't have a lot of things that are like Gabi check boxes.
Did it?
So it's shocking that I read it.
Oh, it didn't have those.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard sci-fi. It's like, who cares about Alexander the Great? It's kind of where I land on that. But it was really good. And then I had this in my... I think it was originally supposed to be released last year. And then...
The Furious Heaven?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it got pushed to, according to my spreadsheet, January. And now Goodreads is saying March 2nd. And I definitely haven't received it. And now Amazon is saying April 18th. So
You'll just have to wait forever, probably.
And then I have to decide whether to read it, which probably means rereading the first one, or calm down and wait for the third one to come out.
You follow your heart on that one.
We'll see. I'm really determined to get through my smack shelf this year, so...
I am equally determined not to let her.
This is our friends to enemies arc playing out in real time. So I think that was all we were going to hit on we have more pre-orders incoming.
We have so many more pre-orders, like the all year's worth, but
it's going to be a surprise for you as much as it's a surprise for us.
Exactly. Gabi made a spreadsheet.
I try not to look at it.
Which titles each of us ordered and what month they're coming in, and I genuinely just try not to look at it. I don't want to know. I love the surprise.
Every once in a while I check it just to make sure that they are coming in because I don't want to miss one.
Right.
Like Furious Heaven. Just thought it again for January.
It'll come.
But then I know to look for it. But now I know it's coming in April. Hopefully I'll forget again before.
April,
Mid-April. I'll
I was
forget.
going to say April's a long way away. April's not a long way away.
Way away.
It will be April when this episode goes out.
Yeah. But I think that's it as far as... I've been trying really hard not to acquire any... I don't think I've gone super book shopping recently.
Because you've been saving up for book crawl.
Yes.
In April? End of April.
Last weekend in April.
And I have decided I'm going to accompany Gabi on all these things, but I am not.
And I'm shocked and appalled and hurt.
I haven't had a paycheck in a while, man.
I'm shocked, appalled, and hurt.
Also, I went crazy on other books recently, so...
You have pretty much. You went to Powell's, which
I
is
did
kind
go
of
to
your
Powell's.
own book crawl.
I went to Powell's, and I only came away with half a dozen.
Yeah.
I'm so proud
That's
of myself.
amazing.
I thought so.
I couldn't have done it.
Part of it is because I was overwhelmed, and I could be reasonable when I was overwhelmed. Like, I already had one emotion ruling me. Like, I didn't have to be like, oh, I need this one. A couple of them. There are a couple where I was like, I still think about like,
You should write them down. That way if you're still feeling them
That's true.
when
I
we're
should
book
write them
crawl.
down.
I know I'm a troublemaker.
You are a troublemaker. You're only making your smack shelf bigger.
I know. Am I making my snack shelf bigger?
When I buy books.
Oh, when you buy books, yes. True.
When Gabi came to visit today, she brought like a giant pile of my books that she had read and gotten off her smack shelf. And I'm both really proud of her and sort of terrified.
And then you handed me 4 in return.
Okay, but you handed me like the absolute book.
I did.
And then like 5 other books
Yes.
as well. 6 because I gave you one back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The Casey McQuiston one.
Yep.
I was like, I won't read it again.
And I'm like,
But she did bring me back Blackwater Sister by Zencho. And she brought back The Space Between Worlds by Micah Johnson, which are honestly 2 of my favorite books.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Tall order. And I haven't even read them since November 2021. So I don't know all the details anymore. But I do know that I freaking loved them.
Well, you're about to get
I know, and now I get to read them again.
So, we'll get into some of the highlights in the Smack Shelf swap in
The next episode.
Yes. But in the meantime, here's hoping you have a fun surprise waiting for you every month, hopefully in the form of a book. This has been another episode of Infinite TBR. You can find us on our Twitter at Infinite TBR.
And we are individually on Twitter as @WhatSmackSaid and @Gabalodon, which is like Megalodon, but Gab in the front of it. And you can find all our show notes at infinitetbr.com. If you have book recommendations for us or questions you want answered during the podcast, feel free to email us at itbrshelf@gmail.com.